Hi, Coach Grimes here again with our third installment of doubles movement. Today we're going to talk about the next stage in our development called the doubles triangle. Now, when I first started at Kofa Tennis, I realized that I would not have the strongest team in the league, and so I thought I needed an edge. I thought I discovered that edge when I realized that no one was playing proper doubles techniques. In high school tennis, you only need 5 points to win a match. 3 of those points come from doubles. I thought if I could teach my team these techniques, we could consistently win 3 matches, and I would only need 2 singles points to win a match. I went to a friend of mine who at the time was head coach of Brawley High School. His girls had great movement. So I asked him, Mike, how do you get your girls to move like that? He told me, the first thing you have to do is get them used to moving up and back. Great, I said. How did you do that? Well, he said, I put 2 discs down and I had them move back and forth between the discs. Then I told him this is how you need to move in doubles. So I tried that, and this started a 3-year quest to try to get my team to move properly in doubles. I tried many tactics. I used the discs, as Mike said. I took the girls to pro tennis matches. I had some of the pros talk to the girls. I brought in teaching pros to teach a clinic. Still, I struggled to get the team to move even in this basic pattern. I thought that one of the problems was that the teams we were playing against weren't moving, and our players convinced themselves if they can win without moving, so can we. I tried to convince them that if neither team are using tactics, then the team with the superior strokes are going to win every time. I also tried to convince them that superior tactics can beat a superior team. Finally, I was able to get a few players moving correctly. I thought that this would have a trickle-down effect on the rest of the team, but it didn't. It seemed that the best I could achieve was perfunctory movement. Perfunctory means that you use the minimum effort possible to achieve the result. It's like when a teacher assigns a class to do an essay. Inevitably, someone in the class will raise their hand and ask how long the essay has to be. The teacher will sigh and say it doesn't matter as long as you do a thorough job. Yes, the student says, but how many pages does it have to be? The teacher will sigh again and say, well, it has to be at least a page and a half. So the student will start typing. They'll get to a page and a half. They have a lot more to say, but because the teacher said that this was the minimum amount they had to do, they'll stop at a page and a half. It seemed that many of the page and a half students play tennis at Kofa High School. Finally this year, we seem to be on the verge of a breakthrough. Most varsity players are moving. Some of you are coming very close to the net and moving side to side. Those players are getting passed a lot and probably wondering why. Don't get me wrong, side to side movement is better than no movement at all. However, it creates many angles for your opponents to attack. Some players whose movement was perfunctory, just moving a couple of steps up and a couple of steps back, so the coach can't say that they weren't moving, are now actually looking to attack the ball, and are being quite successful with it. Let's look at some of our better examples of up and back movement. This is from Chile and Maddie's match against the Gila Ridge No. 2 doubles team. I want you to watch Chile at the net. Now to be sure, Chile is a novice doubles player. She will be the first to tell you that her technique is not the best. But what I like is her aggression. You can tell that she actually wants the ball. She's not just moving so that the coach won't yell at her. As you can see, Chile is trying to anticipate where the ball is going to go and trying to get there first. Now I want to look at another good example. This is Abby and Chile versus Independence. Now, I didn't have a camera on the court that day, so I had to use pan and zoom. So I want to remind you that we're looking at court 4 on the right. What I want you to get from this is not only their movement, but their demeanor. They're much more aggressive than in previous matches and looking to attack the ball. If we can get everyone at least to this level of aggression, then we'll be ready to move on to the movement triangle. Now, I was going to do my own video on the movement triangle, but then I found one on online tennis instruction, so I'm going to let Ian Westerman explain it to you. When he talks about the common mistakes, some of you will surely recognize yourselves.
If your phone's not ringing off the hook from people wanting you to be their doubles partner, then you're probably making one of the movement mistakes that we're about to talk about in this video. And don't worry, we'll give you the solution as well, so you can be super active at the net, cut off tons of balls, and be the player that everybody wants to be partnered with. Here's the first mistake you want to avoid, and this is going to look kind of funny watching me. It might look kind of exaggerated, but we see a ton of this. I'm really just staying in my circle. I'm just covering my own side of the court. I'm super tentative about cutting over and taking anything away that's moving towards Megan. And frankly, I'm just not doing my team any good. I'm being way too passive. This is the next best thing. You see me moving just straight up and back. At least now I'm doing something, but I'm not being nearly as offensive as I could be. At least now I'm transitioning from a more defensive position to guard against the other net player hitting right in between Megan and I when the ball is back behind me. And when the ball's in front of me, I'm transitioning forwards to try to be offensive, pressure Kevin, and try to cut off as many balls as I can. But this still leaves a lot to be desired. This is the next best option. Now you see me moving on a diagonal. And so as I travel back and forth from offense to defense, I'm maximizing my chances of both covering the middle against the opposing net player, attacking and trying to put the ball away, and also pressuring Kevin even more by putting myself a little bit more in the middle of what he has available to him. The only downside to this movement is now I'm leaving Kevin more space available in the middle, and that brings us right to our next option. So here's the solution. Now I've added a third leg, as it were, and completed a triangle. And so I'm transitioning from moving back to play defense and then closing up and also on an angle so that I can cover my side of the court, and then also cutting across towards the middle to maximize the amount of pressure I put on Kevin once I realize that he's really committed to that cross-court shot. The key to really making this work well is covering as much ground as possible between all three legs of the triangle. You want to maximize the defensive position you're in and also maximize the offensive position you're in. And frankly, that just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. And that's what it takes to be a great doubles player. In the middle of a real match, I'm trying my best to time that third leg of the triangle so that when I cut towards the middle, I'm leaving at just the right time, that I'm not leaving myself exposed to Kevin hitting down the line, but I'm also giving myself plenty of opportunity to cut off his cross-court ball. And that's really where the artistry of this comes into play. And you want to kind of push the envelope as the match goes on to pressure that other baseline player more and cut off as many shots as possible, making sure that I target the other net player who's got way less time to react to my shot than Kevin does. There's two big mistakes that doubles players make when trying to do this. The first is maybe completing one or two triangles and then kind of getting stuck and just hanging out up in the offensive position. They feel like they're doing a great job attacking, but in reality, they're leaving themselves super vulnerable by the opposing net player to hit right in between me and my partner back at the baseline. The other big mistake you want to avoid is getting stuck back in that defensive position and only covering the middle of the court from the net player. And at least I've got that shut down, but I'm really not pressuring Kevin at all, and I'm leaving my alley exposed as well. In case you're wondering, the exact same pattern applies over on the other side of the court. The direction of the triangle just reverses, but all the same principles apply. If you'd like to learn more about doubles movement, court positioning, and court coverage, then click the video that's available right now. I go into a little bit more detail, and you'll learn how to position yourself for success and be a hero to your doubles partner.
So that's it for today. Feel free to leave comments in the comments section, and be sure that your notification bell is on. I will continue to do instructional videos during this time that we're off due to the coronavirus.